Hey everyone, welcome to another episode in the Life and Drawing podcast. This is episode 16. And how are you guys doing, man? Let me hit this timer. There we go, 17 minutes. All right. Um, so, in this episode, I will be talking about scary movies, particularly or specifically the horror genre of movies. I mean, and it doesn't have to just be movies, it can be novels, comic book, shows. It's just basically the genre of horror. Horror entertainment. That was my brush, my brush, my brush. There we go. So yeah, uh, so do you like the horror genre? I do not. I, uh, I'm the youngest, and growing up, I grew up with, three other sisters, and, I always wanted to hang out with them and just, do the things that they're doing. You just want to be involved, you want to be a part of whatever's going on. And and if I sung slightly out of breath, I just finished just doing like a quick sort of weight workout, uh, backs and buys and tries, and so because I've been slacking in my workout regimen. I have been slacking, and so I need to buckle down and get that going. So anyway, back to so yeah, you know I just always wanted to be a part of what's going on and where they're going, and the little brother, little sister, youngest sibling syndrome. You just want to be a part of what's going on. So I never enjoyed horror movies. I remember, uh, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I don't know, maybe between the ages of 7 and 10, perhaps 11. I always had nightmares. Uh, it just, and the worst thing is sometimes these nightmares would just last for days or a couple weeks at hand, and 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 for whatever reason, if my sisters were watching a scary film, um, and they would warn me too. They'd be like, "Hey, this is scary. We know you get Oh God, I'll share I'll share a story, quick one. I'm trying to think. Was it man? Was it did it was it called Demons or anyway? There's this one because there's a few that stand out in my mind. And now when I watch them, it's really not as scary as it was when I was that young. Uh, I'm trying to think of the one where was it called Trolls? I'm not sure if like if cute little stuff a cute little pet, gerber, whatever, you have to make sure it didn't get wet, and if it did, then it transformed into this troll type thing. I don't think gremlins. That's the I'm so terrible remembering names. Um, so yeah, I remember that one. But now, you know, I could watch Gremlins and just chuckle at some of the stuff because one, the visuals are just not the same, and uh, yeah, it's just not, But back then, I mean, it felt so real and utterly terrifying, and so, uh, but yeah, but I believe it's Gremlins or it was something else. I don't think this was in Gremlins, but anyway, there was this scene, and it was in a ring. It was before the ring and all that, but there was a scene where, man, this spirit comes through the television. And while this scene was happening, I was completely backing up on our couch in our little house and all the way to the wall. My sisters were like, I mean, this was like a two-bedroom, wooden house apartment. Uh, and, my sisters are like, hey, calm down because that wall was the wall of our parents' bedroom. And so, but yeah, I just kept climbing up the seat of the couch to the back of the couch, up against the wall, and they were like, "You just need to go to your room." I don't know why they just didn't force me and just take me to my room type thing. Maybe it was like, okay, if you want to watch this, then you're gonna deal with the consequences of being terrified, and so, and I was, and the only comfort I would have and was like this little white plastic cross. I I would sleep with and just be praying that I don't have nightmares, and all I needed to do was just not watch those movies, those scary movies, But I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, I that's within our nature, man. We want to do the things that we shouldn't be doing. That's our propensity. And so, uh, but so yeah, man. So yeah, so I don't like the genre. I don't know if you can comment if you like horror movies and horror um, horror shows and stuff like that. But I don't. Even to this day, I if it's um, like all like the Conjuring type stuff. Nah, I don't. Even a TV show that's, to be honest, it's fairly compelling. It's called Evil. And again, I'm terrible at names, so I'm not gonna be able to say, hey, it's the one with this actor or actress. Um, I, I really can't say. I could see their faces and stuff like that. It's like a black guy, a white gal. The black guy, I think, is a priest or studying to be a priest and stuff like that. And the white lady, um, she's either like a freelance journalist or like she has an independent. I don't know, but anyway, I think it's like CBS, and it was intriguing. There was some stuff with that, and even that was, you know, because even like thriller movies, I could watch those more easily. But they're still terrifying. Just the suspense. The pre jump scare. I mean, there have been times like when I used to go to the movies, even before the pandemic, I would just close my eyes because I I I just didn't want to. I didn't want folks to see the jump scare affect me as much. To see me like pitched and jumping in my seat. So I would just close my eyes before the thing would happen, and right after whatever happened, I would open my eyes, and just to uh, nullify the impact. And so, yeah, I'm telling you guys, man, I'm a little wuss when it comes to horror stuff. I don't, and it's not like the gore and stuff, because you know, I could watch gory movies, action stuff, gore. Because sometimes, particularly if it's overdone, then it just becomes more comical. It's like, okay, we're just, squeezing Kool Aid and ketchup packets at this point. But in a well done horror film, no, that's just not for me. I can't, I can't handle that that stuff. And so, uh, but yeah, where was I? Oh so growing up, yeah, that white little cross, man, I would sleep with that, and it would help for a little bit. But the worst thing I would get fairly often would be the that sleep paralysis. I know there's a term for it, where you're in between waking up and still asleep, and I just hated it because it always felt like it came at the tail end of a nightmare. And so I'm either being chased and I can't move, and I want to wake up. I can't wake up. I can see certain stuff in our room, and but I still can't do it. Oh, that was the worst. I was just like, man, I'm terrified. I'm gonna get caught by oh man, what's the guy? The guy with the scissor fingers. What's his name? Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger. I'm just like, geez, this is done, or Jason's gonna get me and stuff like that. I'm telling you guys, I don't know why I watch these things. Um, it's like a masochist. I'm like just a sucker for torment, and but yeah, so I hated that, man. So it helped, um, but I would still just be utterly terrified, and and so yeah. So I don't know if you guys like some of you like horror films. I do not. What was the scariest movie you've ever seen? Um, you can comment below and put those in, and and probably state they were why that particular movie or movies were the scariest for you. For me, it was all of the um, Freddy Krueger movies, and it's because of the nightmares that I would have, and it just had like a real, and I'm sure with everyone else that have nightmares, uh, just for me, it just felt like a real connection of wow, that could actually be me, you know, and so it just terrified me because a lot of the scenes happened in the house, the one with the bed and one in the shower, and it was just so I would be terrified, you know, taking a shower, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what's gonna come? Is blood gonna like pour out of the shower head? Not don't mean to get graphic, but um, hey, we're talking about scary movies, horror movies, and uh, so yeah, man. So all of the Freddy Krueger, um, Nightmare on Elm Street, and all the other spin-offs that included him, he those movies were uh, the scariest I've seen, and I'm sure there's movies that are scarier, but I've just dare not to see them, and um, so yeah. But there's a lot of fanfare for horror films. Um, why do some folks love horror? Because I believe, if we were experiencing those things in real time, Um, I don't, I don't think it would be enjoyable. I don't think it'll be a pleasant like, it's totally, it'll probably be more like, my God, So, but some folks really don't mind, and I'm not even passing judgment. It's more perplexing to me, maybe because I struggle with it, and it terrifies me that you know like most of us wouldn't jump inside the ocean with a feeding frenzy of sharks. But then there are some folks who would, and it's like, man, the rationale, that's immediate danger, life is on the line, and some people feed on that. So, maybe for horror films, some folks, um, some folks, it's kind of like a thrill in the sense of what they're seeing and the emotion of being terrified and you know I can't necessarily go deeper than that. I don't think I really want to. To suggest maybe if some fantasized, man, what would that be like? And although, to be fair, I think some of us scaredly, just made that word, or frightenedly fantasize, like, my goodness, that would be utterly terrifying if that was real. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, man. So scary movies. Uh, what what's your take? Do you guys like scary movies? You know, um, I like I said, I really don't, and um, and so I stay away from them. I really do. Um, oh, there goes the timer for that. Um, so yeah, let me know what your, I guess, your favorite scary movie was, and perhaps like um, why it was your favorite scary movie, and and if you would make a scary movie, what would be one of your sort of like coolest thoughts for a scary movie? Because like Stephen King, and sometimes I think, and this is probably where I may be getting somewhat critical, where I just I'm like, man, how do you how do you conceptualize like these images and the imagery of what's gonna happen, and the way it's gonna happen to such and such a person, and particularly the really gruesome ones, the way like some people die, and it's like so a lot of times that I'm like, man, that's some dark stuff, you know what I mean? And and so it just makes me wonder, man, how do you come up with that stuff? And and sometimes just real life, right? Real life is scary in and of itself. We hear stories of kidnappings, or stories of parents, ending the lives of their kids, and And then the manner in which they do it. I think like just this couple months ago, this mother drowned, her three kids or two kids, just so her husband or ex-husband, yeah, because I think they were separating, and it was like a custody case, just so that he wouldn't have custody of the kids. And even if you're not a parent, but especially if you are a parent, like I am, I mean that just horrifies you, man, because you're like, how can you do this to your child, man? It's it's your offspring. Like how, so just it really baffles you. And to me, as a as a religious person, I get why. There's just sin and corruption, and but even with that perspective, I'm still amazed of how some folks can just do an action like that. And so so as much as I would question, like, man, where do you get the create creativity or the perspective of, man, that horrifying thing? Unfortunately, you don't have to look that far, because in our society there's some really messed up folks. And so anyway, that took a turn. But so anyway, guys, scary movies. Do you like the horror genre? And what was the scariest movie that you've seen to date? And so yeah, you can share some of those thoughts if you have any in the comment section. Thanks again for taking the time to listen and watch this podcast, Life in Drawing, episode 16. Be sure to jump scare that like button, and then also give it a little nudge. Sneak up on it and poke it in the side for the YouTube algorithms. Be sure to check out my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Michelle Be sure to, of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel and to keep the lights on. Right now, figuratively, but I would like for it to become literally. And basically, that just means full time. You can partner up with my Patreon, patreon.com/Michelle. Thanks again for your time. I probably should have drawn something like scary, right? If as I was talking like scary movies, could I don't know, could I draw something ominous? Let me see. This is at the end of this is just classic Michelle at the end. I was drawing like, if you're talking about scary movies, it would be appropriate to draw something scary. See? A late inspiration. I don't know, be like some type of swampy, right? Some type of swampy thing. Right. What do you call that? I'm gonna get ya. Swampy, scary. Anyway, guys, thanks for your time. Thanks for enduring my silliness. Um, be safe out there. Have a great time. Peace out.